So if you think about this situation, and God, I know too much about this because
yes, you do.
Weed smoking.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Friends and
because
teammates.
you had weed smoking friends. They know how to
cycle in and cycle out, and that's why they always say don't get caught.
Hold on, because he had weed smoking friends. That's how you know. Okay, your friends told you a lot. That's kind of fun.
Or don't do it at all. That's the tough one about this, the emotional pull because of her loss.
Let's stay with the emotional pull because of her grieving a tremendous loss, a loss
yes.
some people have had to deal with in life, and if you haven't yet, you will have to eventually.
100%.
But we all have to deal with
losing the parent sucks, whether you're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, doesn't matter. Losing the parent always sucks. Clearly harder when you're younger, right? Because you're more attached, you need them more. Clearly harder. But it's hard no matter what. Even if you're lucky and you keep your parents into your 60s or 70s. Awesome if you do. Still gonna suck when they go. But it'll suck less than if you lost them when you were 10 or 20 or something. She's 21. That's early to lose your parents.
Tough things in life, so I'm not going to weigh one against another. But because of her grieving, I'm reminded of this. You don't make rules based upon exceptions. You make rules based upon the norm.
Yes.
If you're driving to the hospital and you're with your significant other, say you're with your spouse, with your girlfriend, whatever the case may be, and her water breaks, got to get to a hospital ASAP. So you run a red light. Well, we can't now remove all red lights in the nation because your running of the red light was actually very justified in the instant.
Yeah, but you don't have to give the person the ticket, though. Yeah, but you don't have to give that person the ticket, my friend. Reminds me of a story Gary Johnson told me. Gary Johnson, who you guys know I love. Some of you don't like him, but I don't care. I still love him. He was the governor of New Mexico. And he talked about how he would decide, you know, when you talk about judges and picking judges and such. And he'd asked them a question. His question he asked them was, okay, if the legislature passes a law that says that if a 17-year-old or older is convicted of graffiti, that the penalty is mandatory death sentence. That if a 17-year-old or older is convicted of graffiti, then the penalty that you must give, mandatory, minimum, is death. If that law was actually passed and it hadn't gone through the courts to become unconstitutional yet, and at that moment, when it is law, you make that happen. You're the judge, and a 17-year-old is convicted of doing graffiti. What do? And the only answer the judge couldn't say in Gary Johnson's eyes was, well, of course, I'd sentence him to death. Any other answer was okay. Anything else? I'd resign. I would delay it until the law could be talked. I would suspend his sentence. I would find a loophole. I would whatever. Anything the judge said was fine, except, well, it's the law. So I've sentenced him to death and hope he wins an appeal. What? I feel like this guy's saying that. Yes, you don't change rules for exceptions. I get that. But you don't have to punish the exception if it makes sense, right? If there's no harm and it was helpful, why would you punish it? Why would I give a ticket to the guy or gal who's driving for someone who's pregnant and the water broke, give them to the hospital? Why would I give them a ticket? I mean, obviously, if there was some damage, okay, but they just ran the red light or was speeding and they got there, well, I just go, great, go ahead, no worries. Of course I would do that. I feel like we should be thinking about this here. But there's another point here, right? Should she be the story or the exception that does change the rule? And I would argue yes. She should be the story. She's flamboyant. She's got personality. She's good in front of a camera. And she's an amazing athlete on top of all of that. People like her. All those things are awesome. Maybe she should be the one to be the story that changes the rule, right? And what I don't want her to be is the Snowden, right? You got to go to Moscow to try to change the rules. Then they don't get changed. He's still going to put you in jail, right? I don't want her to be punished for this. I mean, I get it. The world's not going to end. It's the Olympics, right? So the world's not going to end. I get it. The world's not going to end. But this is I think, symbolic in that, don't we want to make an exception sometimes? And shouldn't this be one of them? I don't know. Am I wrong? Let me grab a couple comments because maybe I'm off on this one. Maybe I'm off. This is John's. I think the fact they both play professional sports explains their view on the rules. Rules are rules, and you should follow the rules no matter what. Yeah, you're right. It could be that, right? They've played the game before, John. It's probably true. Yeah. Adam says, cheating isn't what you feel. It's a rule. You break it, you're cheating, period. The legal use of weed is another debate. It's also a valid point, Adam. I get it. It's a valid point. It just seems so unnecessary. But again, I can't argue these points, right? She knew what she was doing. Yeah. We need competing athletic organizations. Ooh, I like that. I like how you're thinking. That's good. I love that one. Roy says, Larry, another note. I really liked your interview with Sean Hayes, Unicorn. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad you watched that one. Yes, he's a good guy. Sadly, he didn't win in his primary. He didn't, but yes. Brian says, weed isn't performance enhancing. Nobody smokes a joint and wants to go on a race. That's kind of funny. Yes. Yeah. Adam has a valid point against this one, Brian. Now he says, sometimes items are banned not because it's an enhancer, but it has some other health benefit. There we go. Nate says, regulate beets like onions. I'm in, Nate. Thank you, brother. Absolutely. I think you're completely correct. I love that one. Yes, very good. All right, let's see here. Steve says, I forgot the exact term, but weed supposedly increases the body's ability to process gases, oxygen in the blood. It does enhance performance in theory. Regardless, it's the type of thing where all athletes should be allowed to do it. Alcohol eases pain too. Valid point, Steve. Valid point. The surfing guitarist says she should have been smarter, but these guys should be passionately ranting about how stupid the rules are instead of ranting about how she's paying the stupid tax. Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're right. I wish they were attacking the rules more than attacking the stupid tax. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And he continues, he says, this is an opportunity to break the rules of the person. Yeah, I think it's true. Yes. Rob says, if this revolutionized the use of weed in sports and abroad, federal regulation, etc., this would be a bigger win for the American than gold, in my opinion. You have a very valid point there. If she's the face of normalizing self-medication with cannabis products, awesome. I mean, if I'm a cannabis company, I can't wait to throw her a couple $1 million to promote my stuff, right? I can't wait. I mean, I'm calling her now. I'd have had her agent on the phone hours ago. When can we get her in? I mean, without question. It's a valid point. Yeah, it's a valid point. Again, very good. I like that. Yes. Yes. All right. Adam, Larry, didn't you ask yourself why there is only 2 black guys are debating this and not in the race discussing issue with them? Of course not, because he was right. This is not about race, Adam. I know you're teasing. But no, like you're right. Yes, not about race. This is totally about, yes, absolutely. Yes. The little humor, the only thing about race here is the event itself, the 100-meter race. Yes, absolutely. Yes. That's very good. Absolutely. All right. What is the point of being an Olympian? Being the best at your thing or following rules? Another interesting one. Yes. Yeah. Queen Nia says, these rules have been in place since before she was born. Another valid, right? And I'm going to cover that in the next segment. I'm going to talk about in a second. But yeah, this is a valid point, right? Since before she was born. That's true. And they don't know if she has a history. Yeah. She's agreed. Yes. People don't generally say, oh, yeah, let me see if this helps me get over my hurt or pain. Ooh, so you're saying that she's done weed in the past, and that's why she used it, because she knew that it would calm her. But does that make it worse? I'm not sure that makes it worse. In theory, that might actually make it better. And hear me out on this one. Queen Nia, hear me out on this one. If she just grabbed something, not knowing that it would work to kind of ease her pain and calm her down, then that would go to the other gentleman's point of she lost her discipline. But if she knew it and was like, this will calm me down, then that was more discipline. But then wasn't that enhancing? So I think either way, yeah. I don't know. Either way, yeah.